Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny and today we're going to be looking at some more 5-star predictions. In February I put out a video of 5-star predictions and I have read those books at this point in time, so I figured I would update you on that and then give you 5 new 5-star predictions for the future. Of those 5-star predictions, I only had one accurate prediction, and that was The Magician's Daughter. I talked about this in my highs and lows videos most recently, so I'm not going to give you guys a ton of information. This was 5 stars. I do think I got the main character's name wrong on the last video. I said her name was Rowan. That's the name of the magician. Her name is Biddy. Anyway, general synopsis, you have Biddy who grew up on an island. She was orphaned and kind of washed up on shore, and she is raised by this magician on this magical island that no one else knows about. She's very isolated. Rowan goes off one night to get supplies for the island and doesn't come back, and she has to figure out what to do about it. If you want to know more information on that, please watch that highs and lows videos. I give you guys much more information. I absolutely love this story. It was really cute, so this is a win for me. The next book that I predicted as a 5-star was The Last Cuentista, which I rated 4.5 stars, so it was really close. This is another book that I talked on that highs and low video, so I won't give you much here, but it is about a young girl who her family is taken from Earth because Earth is soon going to be uninhabitable, and so they take a whole bunch of scientists and important families from Earth and put them on a ship to go and live in a different planet. In the process of being put in kind of a hibernative state to get to the other planet, something goes wrong and there is an attack on the ship, and when this young girl wakes up, humanity has changed, what's on the ship has changed, and she kind of has to deal with the consequences of that. Once again, if you want to know more, check out my high and low video. The next book that I had as a 5-star prediction was The Blade Itself. And while The Blade Itself was only a 4-star read for me, which is still really good, I rated the second book in the series, Before They Are Hanged, 5 stars. So while the first book, my prediction wasn't accurate, I did get a 5-star read out of that prediction by continuing on in the series. If you've never heard of the First Law trilogy, the first book is The Blade Itself, and it's a grimdark series. There's not a lot I can tell you about the plot because there's not a lot of plot. You have 5 characters, 3 that you really follow at the very beginning of the book, that are all in this world where war is coming. You have some politics at play, but each character is kind of in their own place in the beginning, and then they do kind of merge as you're reading the story, and their storylines kind of start piecing together. So I really liked this series, or I really liked the first 2 books in the series. I haven't read the third one yet, but I'm excited to do so. If you like character-driven stories and you like grimdark, I think that this series would probably be one that would suit you. If you are a plot-driven reader, I don't know that you would enjoy this series. I've heard from people that at the very end of the series, kind of everything makes sense, and I don't really know that I care. I kind of just enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed getting to know the characters and each individual, their plot lines of, I shouldn't even call them plot lines, but it's just getting to know the characters and the events that have happened to them. Yeah, I've enjoyed the series, so that was a win for me as well, just not a 5-star. The next 5-star prediction was Sisters of the Lost Nation, and I rated this a 4-star. So this, I mentioned the synopsis on my May TBR recently, and so I won't go into a lot of depth here. You are following a girl named Anna who lives on an Indian reservation, and girls start going missing on the reservation. There's a dual timeline. You have the start of the book, and then I think it's 33 days after the start of the book where her sister goes missing, and you kind of toggle back and forth before the timelines eventually meet. And Anna is searching for her sister, and throughout the story there is a lot of Native American folklore and mythology that is brought into play. And after listening to the author's note at the end, the tribe that they focus the story on wasn't a tribe that actually existed, but a tribe that was made out of a whole bunch of different native lores, which I thought was really cool. And they talk about like which tribes each of the stories come from, and just in general native beliefs and how different aspects of the story were impacted by the research that they had done. I do think that this story highlights some really important points and really important things that we should be aware of, with the lack of protection that sometimes these women on the Indian reservations face, because of the fact that it is sovereign land, and there's kind of gray area with how much local police forces will help with things that are happening on a reservation. And so it kind of brought to light those things. It also brought to light the fact that there is a huge epidemic right now of Native American women who have gone missing, and I don't want to say that they're not being tracked, but that it's become a very large problem that isn't being addressed probably as it should be. And so I thought the book highlighted some really important things that I'd never really thought about before. I do think that this was a really good book. I don't think I would classify this as a horror novel, which I can't remember what it is on Goodreads. I don't know if it's mystery or thriller or horror. I'm pretty sure that it does say horror though. And while there are certain pieces, one of the specific mythologies that is brought into play in the book is gruesome and does have that horror element. The main storyline is really just Anna figuring out what she wants to do with her life, kind of a coming of age story. And then this mystery along with it, with her sister going missing and the other woman in her tribe going missing. So I think that is the main plot point. They don't focus on the horror pieces. You just kind of get bits and pieces of some folklore or mythology throughout the storyline. So that's good to know. The next prediction that I had was the first binding. And this is where my predictions fell flat. So the rest of them, while I only had one 5-star one 5-star from my 5-star predictions, I thought that the rest of the books that I picked up were great. And so I wasn't mad about the fact that they weren't 5 stars. I didn't feel disappointed in any way that they weren't 5 stars. But the first binding, I DNF'd. And once again, I talked about this on my highs and lows video, so I won't go through all of the details, but essentially the first binding is supposed to be inspired by The Name of the Wind, and I felt like it was very much a carbon copy of The Name of the Wind and that I was reading the same story. So long story short, it's an 800-page book. I read 250 pages, I think 250 pages of it, and I could guess what was happening, so I just put it down. So that was kind of disappointing, but the rest of my 5-star predictions were great. Now on to the new 5-star predictions. So some more books that I'm putting on my future TBR that I will hopefully love. The first of those I'm not going to give you guys much information about because honestly I don't know much information. I've just heard a ton of people talk about it, and it's a beloved book by a lot of the people that I know in my life as well, and so I'm just assuming that I'm going to love it, and that is The Fifth Season. So I know I'm late to the game. This book has been out for a while. This series has been out for a while, but I have been trying to get into more sci-fi, and this has been on my radar. This is one of the books, I think it was on my 23 and 23 as well, and I do think that I'm going to love it, so I'm putting this on my 5-star prediction. The other books on my list I will give you guys a brief description of because I found these by digging into different synopses and things that I thought I would like. So the first is Fourth Wing. And so I do have I'm not going to get it out right now, but the special edition that was on Amazon. This was one of the books that I bought without reading it because it just sounded really fun. It's about a female dragon rider, a girl who is fragile. They don't really describe why she's fragile in the synopsis, but she's fragile. Her mother is a kind of hardcore general and wants her to follow in her footsteps, and so she tells her that she's going to be a dragon rider, and so she goes about the process of becoming a dragon rider, but because of the fact that she's fragile, dragons don't bond with people who are fragile, and so it's kind of her story of going through that process. And I think it sounds fascinating. I'm excited the fact that it's a female main character. Dragons, of course. I'm excited about it being dragons. And yeah, I just think it's going to be a really fun story. So 5-star prediction from me. The next 5-star prediction I have is The City of Nightmares. So this was brought to my attention by, I think, Elliot Brooks. It was on her channel, and this book just sounded really weird. It's about a city. I think it's a girl who lives in a city, and you can become a nightmare. I think it says her sister becomes a giant spider and eats people. And dreaming, you can wake up as your worst nightmare. And so all these kind of weird things are happening. It talks about how she gets involved in, I think they call it a knot cult, but I don't know if that means that it is a cult, in order to try and save herself from some of this, and then a greater storyline happens. I don't know. I'm fascinated by the fact that I don't know that I've ever read a book that focuses on becoming nightmares, and so yeah, I'm excited about this one. I think it sounds weird, and hopefully it's my type of weird. And the next two predictions are related in the fact that they're both pirate stories. I don't know why, but recently I really have wanted to get into some pirate, like, adventure novels, and these two popped up on my Goodreads recommendations, and I just think that they sound really interesting. I should mention that all but the 5th season on this TBR, like on my 5-star predictions, are 2023 releases. Obviously the 5th season isn't, but the other 4 are. And so these two popped up on like my new release recommendations. One of them is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi. I think it's Sirafi. And this is about a female pirate who is retired. And she was like one of the most notorious pirates on the Indian Sea, but she's retired to have a family and kind of settle down. And she is approached by someone who wants her to, I think, seek out her, one of her colleagues' daughters has been kidnapped, and so she needs to go and save the daughter. And so I think it's about her putting her crew back together and kind of going on one last adventure. I don't know, it sounds really interesting. I love the cover, which I know that doesn't mean that the book's going to be great, but I think it sounds fun. I like the aspect of like having one last hurrah and getting back to what you're known for doing, even if you have been away for it for quite a while. So I'm excited about it. And the last prediction I have is Deep as the Sky, Red as the Sea. This is another pirate story, like I said before. This is about another female pirate. Specifically, I believe this pirate is based in Chinese folklore. And I don't know, I don't know a lot, like it says it's historical fiction. I almost wonder if it's based on, I think one of the most notorious like female pirates, or not even female pirates, I think one of the most notorious pirates that is like written in history is a Chinese female pirate queen. I don't know much about that side of history, and so, but for whatever reason that jogged my memory. I feel like I have read before that like one of the largest pirate queens in that instance was Chinese, and that she was pretty notorious on that side of the world. And so I hope that this is kind of a retelling of her history. But even if not, I just think the story sounded really interesting. So the story talks about her essentially becoming this like infamous pirate queen, but then having to protect her fleet, because now that the fact that she's, you know, on top, there are all these people kind of coming at her. I think her husband is slain. Obviously some of her crew, like I think she's had like maybe some mutiny go on. The emperor, the Chinese emperor is coming after her because of the fact that they want their ships to be safe in the pirate seas, or in the seas. So I don't know, I think it sounds interesting, and once again, I was in the mood for pirates, so this is another 5-star prediction for me. So that is my list of 5-star predictions. Hopefully I will beat my score from last time, so that's my goal. So last time I had 1 5-star prediction from my 5 stars. Now I want to have at least 2 out of this list of 5. Hopefully all 5 of them are 5 stars, but I'm gonna say I want at least 2 of them to be 5 stars. If you guys have any 5-star predictions of your own, leave them in the comments. If you have any 5 stars that you've had recently in recent months that you would like to share, I would love to hear about those as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.